Todd-U.
All right, we're going to do a little bit of history. This is a breaker point ignition, so we don't use these anymore. These went out of style about 1972, somewhere around there. So we're going to be using the Sun 504 distributor machine. I do not have a letter from the Smithsonian so I can use this, so please don't throw rocks at me. But this machine is good for some educational purposes on how this ignition system works. We have to have a positive and negative input. We're going from the ignition switch to the ballast resistor. The ballast resistor, what it does, it knocks that 12 volt input down to around 8 or 6 volts before it goes up here to the ignition coil. It goes to the positive side of the ignition coil. The negative side of the ignition coil comes down and goes here and hooks to your breaker point of your ignition on your breaker points themselves. And what goes on as those open and close, that open and closes the electromagnetic field inside here and turns this into an amplifier. And it puts out a high amount of voltage coming up here to my distributor cap. My distributor cap receives this voltage from the coil through a rotor. And the rotor only goes on one way. It's got a notch in it, so you can't screw that part up. The distributor is timed to the camshaft. This mechanism right here is your vacuum advance. As your engine RPMs go up, your vacuum in your gasoline engine goes up. And what that does is that pulls this plate and advances your timing. There's also spring-loaded mechanical advance in this distributor as well. If you ever want to know which way your distributor turns, if you think about your vacuum advance be like a pinball machine, and I go to pull this back and let the ball go, the distributor goes in this direction. So that's the direction of your firing order. Your distributor cap also goes on one way. It's got a notch in it as well. This is a General Motors distributor for a V8. It's got a window here that allows us to come in using an Allen wrench and adjusting the dwell. So what is dwell? Dwell is the amount of time that those points are opened or closed. I don't care which way you think about that. I got a dwell meter right here. So on our typical gasoline engines, on the old ones, you know, back in the early 70s, when we ran breaker point ignition, you have to do this while it's running. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this machine up. You see my dwells right here, and you're looking for your dwell to be around 30. There, I've adjusted that dwell on the machine. So if I was going to put this distributor into a vehicle, all I would have to do is make sure that it was timed. My points and everything in my distributor would already be set. All I'd have to do is drop the distributor in, set the timing on the engine, and away we go.
Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you've learned something new. If you would like to learn more about what it takes to be a technician, or just how something works in general, please feel free to check out some of my other videos. I'm Todd with Todd-U, and I'll see you later.